Hey guys, welcome back. This is our second video. If you watched the first video, it was kind of a brief description of what the channel is going to entail, and we talked a little bit about stocks. Okay, that was like our basics of what stocks were, how you calculate how many shares you can afford to buy, how to figure out your profit loss, and how to briefly manage risk. And we're going to have more in-depth videos in that, but if you watch that video, then you're truly a beginner and you don't know anything about it. So that's a really good video to start with. But today, what I wanted to do was talk to you about budgeting, because you don't want to start investing in the stock market unless you have your finances in order. And with with a budget, you're basically in control of your money. Your money's not controlling you. And it's a good way on paper to hold yourself accountable and become financially aware of your current situation and how to fix that. So I'm going to show you the one that I use. Just a reminder before I get started, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you find any of this information useful. None of this is financial advice. This is all for educational purposes only, and this is my own personal opinion. This is what I do. You don't have to do it. It's just to kind of help others who are in a similar situation that I was when I first got started. So what I like to do is type in Dave Ramsey budget forms, and then I'll go to useful forms. Then I'm going to click on the monthly cash flow plan. Okay. Now, Dave Ramsey, most of you probably heard of him. If you have not, then maybe you've been living under a financial rock. I don't know, but I read his book a long time ago, the Total Money Makeover, and completely changed my way of thinking. I was in a very bad financial state, a lot of debt, not much money coming in, and kind of like the saying, there wasn't enough month at the end of the money. Okay, I was like always scrounging around for extra money to pay my bills. And eventually I came across this book. I read it, and it just changed my life completely, because it gave me the one thing that you really need to provide change at the start, and that's hope. Okay, a lot of testimonial, stories in that book, along with a lot of good information, and he goes through the baby steps of how to become financially independent. Okay, which I'm still doing some of the baby steps. I'm not completely done, but I'm just letting you know that that book is phenomenal. So this is the budget form that I've used in the past and continue to use, just because of the simplicity of it. Um, I, I try to do it every month. I notice that if I don't do it every month, that I am a little bit more inconsistent. So if you can do this every month, even if it's just reviewing your last month's budget just to make sure nothing has changed, it's a good reminder of, to stay on top of your goals, holding yourself accountable, and getting that assurance that you know where your money's going. Okay, so basically, I'll go through the proper steps with you. What you're going to do is you're going to figure out your take-home pay, monthly take-home pay after taxes, and you're going to put it in the first box. And then they'll have a lot of sections like this here that breaks down how much money you're spending per month. They also have a percentage. That's kind of what they recommend that you spend per month based on your take-home pay, and you want to try to stay within that target. Okay. If you're getting started just now, you may not be able to hit some of those targets, and your debt might be a lot higher than what it should be. So don't freak out. Just know that this is the first step of developing a plan and getting on track. Okay. At the end of it, you're going to take your take-home pay minus all your expenses, and you want to have a zero balance. Okay. And what you're going to do is once you go through this the first time, this number right here may be a negative. It may be a positive. Okay, or it may be right at zero, who knows, but most likely you're going to get a negative or a positive. Okay, that's going to tell me one of two things. Is if it's in the negative, that means, holy cow, I need to do one of two things. I need to cut expenses for unnecessary needs, or I need to increase my income. Okay, one of the two or both. All right. If I'm in the positive, that means, hey, this is great. Now I can focus on an area that I'm kind of neglecting, and I can use that extra money to put it towards saving for that car, saving for that house, or maybe I want to start investing in the stock market. Maybe I can put a little bit of money every month into the market with that extra money. Or it could be I want to start paying more debt down with that extra cash that I have coming in. Okay. or it could just be you want to save it. So whatever that is that you want to do. All right. So let me just kind of go through that with you here. So you have charities, tithing. So you could be giving to your church. You could be donating to like a nonprofit, something like that. You'll have food for groceries, restaurants, and they have spent and budgeted. So I guess I don't really I don't use the spent and budget. I just go by what I'm budgeting per month, and I'm pretty disciplined of, okay, I know I'm going to spend that amount of money. I don't go over that. And if you notice that these little envelopes are in certain sections, Dave Ramsey recommends a envelope system where you're putting money away each month in an envelope. And then whenever you go to spend money on those certain things, you bring your envelope filled with cash, because if you have cash in hand, you're going to try to stay within that budget. It's a lot harder to stay disciplined when you have that card, because you could just swipe the card and go over budget. But if you have $100 that you're going in for the grocery store, you're going to be more conscious of what you're buying, and you're going to try to stay within that budget. It's almost kind of like a game to me whenever I go in and do that. You'll have saving, emergency fund, retirement fund, college fund. You see your clothing, your housing, transportation. And some of these things, again, you're not going to use every month, but like your envelope system's kind of like a little car emergency fund. And then you have your car replacement. So like if you don't have a car note, for example, for myself, I paid my car off early, and now I'm just saving that money that I was paying every month into another account. So when I go to buy a new vehicle down the road, I have a certain amount of money to put down towards my next vehicle, or I could just pay it off in cash depending on how much I have at that time. You'll have your utilities, your medical bills, your insurances, recreation, personal care, and your debts. Okay, extremely important to be very, very detailed on these sections here. Okay, you don't want to shortchange anything, especially on your debts. This is where you need to be really, really detailed, and it's really hard to look at once you put this down on paper if you have a lot of debt. I'm going to tell you now, it's like gut wrenching, but this is where, again, you start kind of realizing that you need to hold yourself more accountable. So once that's done, you can add all your totals up in the boxes here, and then you can check your percentages and say like, okay, I'm spending, I take home $3,000. I'm spending X amount of dollars on groceries. What percentage that I'm spending, what is that of 3,000? And if it's in the 5 to 15 range, then you know that you're probably in a good spot. But if it's over, then most likely you're like, well, maybe I can kind of cut some spending down at the restaurants. And if you're under 5%, then maybe you need to look at getting an extra job or so, that way, or moving some money around. If you notice that you're spending a lot more money somewhere than you need, and you're kind of neglecting yourself on one of your needs, then that's where you kind of adjust that cash flow. Okay, so at the end, you're going to get your take-home pay. You're going to minus all the category totals, and then you're trying to get this number to zero, is what you're shooting for. Okay, and if you can, fantastic. But again, if you're in the negative, then you've got to get some changes going. You got to get a second job. You've got to or get a higher paying job, or just start cutting expenses of things that you don't need, because there's always something there that you don't need. You may not think of it right now, but I promise you, if you look hard enough, you'll find it. And if you're blessed enough to where you have a positive cash flow coming in, then maybe you can make a decision on what you can do from here on out. Okay, so you can pick one of these sections here and say, you know what, I've been meaning to give more money to this charity. I want to maybe save a little bit of money, or take my family eat out once a month, or I want to put more money in retirement or emergency funds and stuff like that. So anyway, I hope this video helped. I just wanted to kind of create awareness of a great way to consistently manage your money and take control of it. And if you have any questions, please feel free to comment below, and don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And other than that, we'll see you in the next video.